motion appoints special or ad hoc committees to investigate any matter of public importance, to consider any bill that does not come under the jurisdiction of any of the standing or select committees. So the ad hoc committee to investigate the allegations and counter allegations is actually very well within the purview or the mandate of Parliament. Now, before I hand over the activities of the day to the chairman of the committee, honorable members, distinguished members of the press, let me introduce the membership of the committee. We have on the far right, on my left but right, the Honorable Ben Abdullah Banda is the MP for Finsel South and is a member of the committee. Then you have the Honorable Magnus Kofi Amoate, is the MP for Yilo Krobo and a member of the committee. Now you have the Honorable BT Baba, he's the MP for Talensi and a member of the committee. We have the Honorable Abna Drua Mensah, she's the MP for Asin North and is in attendance. We have a fifth member of the committee who is currently not here, but who will join us as the proceedings go on, and that's the Honorable Amapuma Boating. She is the MP for Joburg. So, like I said earlier, you're all welcome to this morning's sitting of the committee. The chairman, like I said, is the Honorable Joe Gatti. So I will yield the chair respectfully to him to address this gathering.
Well, thank you very much. Let me remind all of us that we are at a committee meeting of Parliament. We are guided by the Constitution and the standing orders. Let me reiterate that on this 8th sitting, held on 31st January 2017, Parliament approved a motion to establish a special committee in accordance to Order 191 of its standing orders to investigate allegations of bribery leveled against the chairman and some members of the Appointments Committee. The terms of reference of the special committee are as follows: to establish whether the first Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joseph Oseos, who took money from the Energy Minister, Mr. Boacha Jako, and gave it to the Minority Chief Whip, Alhaji Mubarak Mohammed Mutaka, to be distributed to members of the Appointments Committee. To establish whether there were attempts to bribe members of the Appointments Committee. To look into the merits of the complaints and assertions made by the first Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joseph Oseos, about the matter. As has been told to you, we were established under Order 191 of the Standing Orders, which gives the House the power to appoint a special ad hoc committee to investigate any matter of public importance. We derive our power from Article 1033 of the Constitution, which says that committees of Parliament shall be charged with such functions, including the investigation and inquiry into activities and administration of the ministries and departments of Parliament, as they may determine, etc., etc. Now, let me also remind you, in exercising our power, we have all the powers of a High Court or a Justice of the High Court at a trial, but only in respect of enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise, and compelling the production of documents, the issue of a commission, or request to examine witnesses abroad. We are not a court. This does not make us a court. We are a committee of Parliament, and we shall be guided by the standing orders of Parliament. I want to refer you to a few of them, which we'll be relying on. I want to refer you to Order 196, Order 197, and Order 200. Order 196 says that we shall meet to consider such business on a day and hour named by the chairman in respect of that business. After today's meeting, we shall meet again on Friday. After today's meeting, our next meeting will be on Friday. 197 says that the deliberations of a committee shall be confined to a matter referred to it by the House, and any extension or limitations to it made by the House. Honorable members, we wish to remind ourselves that we are not engaged on a wild goose chase, or we're not fishing ad infinitum. We are guided by the terms of reference given to us by the House, and we shall not go outside it. I also want us to remind us of the 200. It says, in committees, the standing orders of the House shall be observed so far as may be applicable. The chairman of the committee shall maintain order in the committee, deciding all questions of order. I will appreciate it if there's no disorder. If there's a disorder, I won't hesitate to ask the person to be removed. Let me just also say that this committee has already met a number of times. This is the public part of our hearing. When we met, we decided a number of things. One of the things we decided is which witnesses to call. We have decided that we are going to call 4 witnesses. The 4 witnesses are Honorable Joe Osewusu, Honorable Alhaji Mohammed Mutaka, Honorable Ayariga, and Honorable Bwachajaku. I take this opportunity to state that any other member of the committee who has any information that will be useful to the committee should submit a memorandum to us by Friday. Upon receipt of the memorandum, we will decide whether it's necessary to call that person as a witness, or we shall just examine the memorandum that the person has submitted and prepare a report. Before I come to the question of conflict of interest, the committee is by consensus unanimous on the view that we have jurisdiction in the matter. We address this issue because the matter has been raised on some of your stations. I will invite Honorable Ben Abdallah to make a few comments on the question of jurisdiction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it is worthy to note that the institution of Parliament, or the legislative arm of government, is created and recognized by Article 93(1) of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, it is tried law that jurisdiction is created by law. Therefore, for Parliament of Ghana, Article 103(1) of the Constitution permits the appointment of standing committees and other committees as may be necessary for the effective discharge of its functions. These committees, Mr. Chairman, as you rightly pointed out, have the powers, rights, and privileges of the High Court. This is stipulated in Article 103(1) of the Constitution, which is reinforced in Order 155 of our standing orders. It is therefore not in doubt, Mr. Chairman, that the parliamentary committees and their functions are sanctioned by Parliament or by law, just as members of Parliament have privileges and immunities. Members of Parliament may also fall foul of the law. There are certain acts, omissions, which when committed by members, not only members, even by strangers, that is non-members, that's people who are not members of Parliament, may amount to contempt of Parliament or breach of privilege. Mr. Chairman, Orders 28 and 30 of our standing orders set out acts, omissions, or conduct which may constitute contempt of Parliament. Mr. Chairman, for lack of time, I don't want to repeat in extenso the said provisions as stipulated in our standing orders. Mr. Chairman, which committee has the jurisdiction to deal with this matter? Our standing orders stipulate that all acts and omissions which may constitute contempt of Parliament shall be referred to the Privileges Committee. By why has Parliament thought twice to establish this special or ad hoc committee? The reason is simple. I think the reason is out there. The man who is at the center of this matter, Honorable Joe Seusu, who is the chairman of the appointment committee, is also the same person who doubles as the chairman of the privileges committee. So per order 191 of our standing orders, Parliament is permitted to establish or constitute a special or ad hoc committee to deal with a matter which is of national importance. It is in the wisdom of Parliament that this matter is of national importance, and as such, the establishment of this ad hoc or special committee, therefore, is a step in the right direction. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abayati. No, I'm calling the next person. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My colleague here has spelled out a whole lot of things. And let me just add a few points to what he has said, based upon the jurisdiction upon which this committee is performing its duty. Mr. Chairman, if I may have your permission to quote Order 191. Order 191 of the Standing Orders of Parliament provides that the House may at any time by motion appoint special or ad hoc committee to investigate any matter of public importance, emphasis, public importance, to consider any bill that does not come under the jurisdiction of any of the standing or select committees. This matter of allegation of bribery does not come under any of the select or standing committees of Parliament. And, Mr. Chairman, the importance that the media space attributed to this issue and the discussions of the House stressing the importance of the issue of corruption or bribery to Parliament is not to be taken for granted. Mr. Chairman, it is upon this that this committee was set up by Parliament to address this special issue, which is of so much importance to our nation, Ghana. Mr. Chairman, let me take the liberty to add that Article 103 grants to Parliament the liberty to investigate its own members. And I'm sure people will ask whether it includes the investigation of members of Parliament. Let me add that members of Parliament have been granted wide scope of privileges and immunities, including freedom of speech, debate, and proceedings in Parliament, and which freedom shall not be questioned either outside Parliament or in any court. How then do we get to the bottom of the matter if the immunity and privileges enjoyed by members of Parliament are to be invoked? It is only Parliament that can regulate its own members of Parliament in their conduct, in their contributions, and that is why in the wisdom of the House and Mr. Speaker, this committee is being requested to go into the matter. Mr. Chairman, let me just add, finally, that the issue of Parliament being the master of its own rules has been settled by the Supreme Court in the case of Tufo versus Attorney General. And on the strength of that, I think this committee is properly constituted and properly appointed to investigate this matter and make a recommendation thereon to the House for consideration. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Honorable B.T. Baba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think my previous colleagues have spoken at length as to the powers that we have to investigate ourselves. Parliament, like any other institution, has power to investigate itself and to do a very good job to present a credible report. This is not new. If we go to the security forces, that is the Ghana Armed Forces, the police, the prisons, fire service, immigration, and etc. And even in the civil service, internal investigations have become part and parcel of our everyday life. The case in issue involves 2 or more members of parliament, and you have been told the privileges that we have. And so we have no other option but to institute an internal committee that will investigate it. And these institutions that I've mentioned earlier, anytime they conduct their internal investigations, it is done outside the public. But for us, because of the huge interest that we ourselves have and the general public, Mr. Speaker, in his wisdom, has granted us leave to use your medium to investigate this case and to unravel the truth. So you permit us to do a creditable job, stay out of discussions, because once we start, it means that any other discussions involving the work of the committee will also jeopardize our credibility. So I want to plead, Mr. Speaker, that they should take a cue from this public hearing that Parliament is going to be transparent. The decision of this committee, so far as Mr. Speaker is concerned, will also be made known as and when it is deemed necessary. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Abner Mesa, do you have anything to add? Okay. The honorable member in attendance agrees with what the other honorable members have said. So the question of jurisdiction is unanimously agreed upon. We are of the view that we have jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction was conferred by Parliament. The Speaker put a motion on 31st January 2017. The motion was unanimously carried, and the only way we can stop doing our work is if Parliament itself stops us. Before we start, there's another question that, and all this can be found in the Hansard of 31st January 27, column 676. That is where the motion was put and carried by the House. There's also the question of conflict of interest. The conflict of interest of members of the committee as members of Parliament investigating their own members has been answered by the comments that I've made. Conflict of interest of the chairman who appeared before the appointments committee, I don't see any conflict of interest. Article 284 of the Constitution says that a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interest conflicts or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office. I'm a public officer as a member of Parliament. Unfortunately, I don't agree with those who think that my sitting as chairman poses a conflict of interest. I will therefore not recuse myself. Having put that behind us, and having said that we have jurisdiction, we are prepared to start the public hearing. And so I'll ask the clerk of the committee to invite our first and only witness for today, the Honorable Joseph Osei-Owusu.
You're still live. You're still live here on Joy 99.7 FM. We're coming to you live from the Job 600 building in Parliament House. And so right now, Joseph Oseusu, the chairman of Parliament's Appointments Committee, is walking in as I speak to you. He's making his way to take his seat as the first witness who will be answering questions from members of the Special Investigative Committee that Parliament has set up to investigate the issues of allegations of bribery against some members of Parliament, including himself, that's the Honorable Joe Oseusu, and also some other members of the Appointments Committee. The chairman of the committee, Joe Gatti, has been addressing the House, insisting that as far as he's concerned, he does not in any way find himself in a conflict of interest situation, and so he won't recuse himself. But Joe Oseusu is being sworn in to give his evidence before the House.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee, that the evidence I shall give before this committee, touching the matter in issue, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So help me God.
Honorable Oseusu, you didn't even wait for the chairman to invite you to be sworn in.
I regret that. Your assistant here took me through it. I assumed that you had given him the mandate already. Forgive me, sir.
Okay. You are forgiven. Honorable Oseusu, I want to remind you of a few things. You have a right to counsel. You have a right, even though you are a lawyer yourself, you have a right to a lawyer. Secondly, if at any time you believe that you are discussing matters that you want to discuss in camera, our committee has agreed that you can make such an application. We shall meet it. After you give your evidence, members, you are a witness before the committee. You are not a complainant, you are not a plaintiff. And so everybody is a witness. Nobody is more of a superior witness than the other. So after you give your evidence, the members of the committee will ask you questions to clarify issues that they seek clarification. So those are the preliminary comments that I want to make. Do you have anything to say?
No, Mr. Chairman, I agree entirely with you.
So I want it to be put on record that you do not want to exercise your right to counsel. Or you do?
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
Honorable Oseusu, you are aware of the terms we wrote you a letter stating the terms of reference of this committee.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Now, the first reference is to establish whether First Deputy Speaker, Mr. Honorable Joseph Oseusu, your good self, took money from Energy Minister, Mr. Boacha Ajaku, and gave it to Minority Chief Whip, Alhaji Mohammed Mutaka, to be distributed to members of the Appointments Committee. What do you know about it? Can you tell the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the 27th of February, late afternoon, we were in the chamber. I think Mr. Speaker had suspended sitting.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Did I hear you say 27th of February? Sorry. Or January?
January, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, sorry. Mr. Speaker had suspended sitting. The Appointments Committee's second report was pending. Chairman, around 4 p.m. thereabout, a friend sent me a WhatsApp message. And the WhatsApp message said, one Ablodepe was...
Excuse me, sorry. No telephone calls. No telephone calls. Don't even put your phone on silent. Don't pick your call. Can you, sorry, it wasn't you, but I'm just making a point. If your phone rings, you are in contempt. If you lift up your phone, you are in contempt. And I'll ask you to be removed from this meeting immediately. This is a very serious exercise we are undertaking. Thank you. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That one Ablodepe was reporting from Parliament that the then nominee, Mr. Boache Jakun, had brought to me, Oseiwusu, 100,000 Ghana cedis to be distributed among members of the Minority on the Appointments Committee so that he would be passed by Parliament. I was surprised. So I sought to look out for who the reporter was. I assumed then that he was a member of the Parliamentary Press Corps. So I was shown the leader of the Parliamentary Press Corps, and I showed him the message, said they should help me find who that person is, because I thought that such a report, false as it is, he may have a reason for putting that out. So I wanted to meet the person. Then they said, no, he's not among the Parliamentary Press Corps, and that he was a former staffer at the office of the President, of former President John Mahama. Well, because of that, I did not take it seriously. I went and showed the post to the minority leader and the deputy. Now look at what somebody is publishing. And we just dismissed it with a laugh, thinking that it was one of those who are engaged in partisan reportage. So practically, we ignored it. But within an hour, other members of Parliament showed me some other publications from, I think, Major Online and Peace FM Online. And those publications had attributed their statement, this time, to a member of Parliament, Honorable Mahama Ayariga. Mahama Ayariga was in the chamber, but just at the time, the speaker came in.
Sorry, 1 minute, please. The gentleman standing behind the witness, why are you standing there?
The reflection was, so I should be there.
Continue, please.
Mr. Chairman, because of that, when the chairman came in, it was this report of the nominees, 5 of them, which was to be discussed. The report was that 3 of them be approved by consensus and the remaining 2 be by majority. But before the report could be taken, the minority leader sought leave of the speaker that we'll go into a conclave of the leadership and members of the appointment committee. So we went into the speaker's office in the chamber block. When we went, Honorable...
I don't want to interrupt you, but if you just said that you were going to discuss a report,
yes.
5 of them, 3
yes,
was by consensus, 2 was by majority.
Yes, sir.
Who were the 3 who were by consensus? Who were the 2 who were by majority, if you can remember?
I think, if I recall correctly, the 3 were Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Minister for Communication, and Honorable Minister for Local Government.
I don't think it will be communication. Communication was not among the second. Communication was among the. But who were the 2? Who were the 2? Let's remember, you've done a lot of vetting.
That's right.
But who were the 2?
But the 2 were Honorable Minister Designate for Energy and Senior Minister Designate, Honorable Yasafu Mafu.
So the Honorable Minister Designate for Energy is Honorable
Boakye
Jaku,
Jaku,
the one who is alleged
to have given us the bribe. Right.
Okay, continue, please.
So when we went into conclave, the issue was on the day we vetted the two nominees, as is our practice, as soon as we finish, we take a decision on whether the nominee is passed or by consensus or by majority. In respect of Honorable Yasafu Mafu and Honorable Boakye Jaku, the minority members on the committee made it clear that they would not support them. However, the minority leader requested the committee and me, the chair, to hold on with bringing out the report because we were doing further consultations.
You said the minority said they won't support them. What did the majority say?
The majority said we supported them. So the conclusion was that they will be recommended to be approved by majority. And by standing orders, if it is by a majority, it means that we should go into a secret voting. And that was clearly contained in the report. Indeed, that was the report that was placed before the House. However, the report was delayed because these three members were among the first set of people that were vetted. But we did not add them to the first report because the minority leader had requested for time to do further consultations with his team on whether they should continue to hold the objection or not. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, at this meeting, when the Speaker allowed the request by the minority leader, after which we went into conclave in the Speaker's office, this publication had then come out. But the minority on the committee, headed by the minority leader, was in the company of the minority chief whip, Honorable Ayariga, a member of the Appointments Committee, Honorable Samsiahi, a member of the Appointments Committee, and they said they wanted the evidence. He had actually brought the evidence to me earlier. I had given it to the minority leader, who had also given it to the minority chief whip. But the chief whip said he couldn't find what he was looking for. So I had called Mr. Boakye Jaku in, and he had come to mark the report for me, after which I returned it to Honorable Muntaka. Now, at that meeting, they called the immediate past Deputy Minister for Power, Honorable Jinapo, and he came to confirm that indeed those things that are contained in the report were a fact, except that they thought that in one case there had not been financial commitment. So they dropped that. But they were not happy with Boakye Jaku saying that the World Bank was breathing heavily on the neck of the immediate past president, Sir John Mahama. And they were not happy with Mr. Yasafu Mafu's answer to the CNTCI loans. So they were given the opportunity to represent the evidence in words and expressions that was acceptable to them.
Let's restrict ourselves to Mr. Boakye Jaku. He was given the opportunity where?
At the Speaker's office. That was the evening that they were going to move the motion. Indeed, the motion had been moved, and the three which were to be approved by consensus had been approved. But the two on which we were going to cast a vote, it was when the vote was to be taken that the minority there requested that we go into a conclave, which it is a report of the conclave that I've given. Was already on air. So at that meeting, after they had been satisfied,
Chairman,
the minority
if I
members
may
had been
just
satisfied.
interject, find out which allegation was already on air.
So, Chairman, the allegation that Wache Jakun has given me money to be distributed to members of the minority had already, as I said, had been published by, in addition to what a friend sent me, it has also been published on my Joy Online and Peace FM Online, which had been shown to me. It was that attribution which had been made to Honorable Ayariga, that he had made that allegation on Radio Gold, and they were reproducing it. So in the conclave, after they had shown that they were satisfied, the minority side, and were willing to withdraw their objection and to agree for the report to be amended, that Honorable Asaf Mafo and Mr. Boache Jakun be passed by consensus. We're going to leave. And I said, no. There was this allegation already in the public domain, and Honorable Ayariga is the one alleged to have made that allegation, so we should discuss that matter at that meeting. All the minority members said, oh, the Speaker, take your time, cool down, cool down. I said, how can I cool down? This allegation is made, is already in the public domain. Here we are. The person who made the allegation is here. It was at that point that Honorable Kujetwa Blakwa said, oh, because Ajakun said our president was corrupt, referring to President John Mahama, we were spreading the corruption allegation. So then the mood in the room changed. We all laughed to it. Said, oh, so this was all there was to it.
He said that in jest, or?
No,
because the way you said you all laughed.
Yes.
You're not sure whether it was, the meeting was a meeting held in camera.
Yes.
An in-camera meeting. From what you are saying now, when he said that, it brought down the tension in the room.
Mr. Speaker. Because I was insisting that that matter be investigated before we leave the room. But when he said that they created that to spread the corruption, then I dropped my insistence. So when I came to report on the floor of the House, the conclusion that had been reached, and also sought leave to amend the report, I added in the statement that indeed this meeting has shown that the allegation of corruption, the people who created it have confessed that they created that for equalization because President Mahama had been accused of corruption. Mr. Speaker, all the people who were in the meeting were in that room that evening. If that were not so, I would have thought that somebody would object that one, because that would be borne out by the answer.
Mr. Chairman, sorry to butt in again. The witness made a statement that the people who made the allegation, so far he mentioned one person, the person of Honorable Kujetwa Blakwa. Would you inform this committee who the people who made the allegation?
Sorry, but you didn't even say that Honorable Blakwa made the allegation. Yes. You said that it is, you restricted, but he didn't make an allegation. And then I asked him whether he made it in jest to, they all laughed, and he's not in a position to tell. But the person who I've heard him say made the allegation was Honorable Ayariga. But if you're asking who else was in the room, he has mentioned the names. He mentioned the names of those who were in the room. I remember Honorable Ileche, Honorable Ayariga himself. He's mentioned the names. So he's still not saying that anybody else has made an allegation apart from Honorable Ayariga. Or maybe I just want to clarify.
Mr. Speaker, in the report I made on the floor of the Parliament, I used the word the people who made the allegation.
Okay.
Right. But it is because it was Honorable Ayariga who is reported to have made a statement on Radio Gold. But it was Honorable Okujetu who confessed, whether it is a confession or saying in jest, that they put that out as an equalization because Honorable Ejako had said that Honorable John Mahama was corrupt. That's why I used the term the people who made the allegation. And here, I think this is clear now. I'm talking about Honorable Ayariga and then Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa. Because Ayariga is the one who is reported. Okujeto is the one who is offering the explanation for that report. And Mr. Speaker, when I made that report on the floor of the House.
So apart from these people that you mentioned, who else was there?
At the meeting, Honorable Suhihini, Honorable Eric Opoku.
You mentioned that. Who else was there from the majority side?
From the majority side, it was the majority leader and myself. Yes, the two of us.
But, Honorable Speaker, I've been a speaker before. What happens in the speaker's lobby? Sometimes anyway.
The Speaker, I take your hint, but we have now moved it from the Speaker's lobby onto the floor of the House. When I reported on that, in the course of amending the report.
What day is that, Hazard? What day was that?
Well, on the same Friday, 27 January.
The clerk will get us a copy. We'll study it.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
We'll study it. Yes.
Thank you. So, indeed, after that, we expected that the matter would die. But Parliament rose that evening after 7, and some of us were going to Koforidua for the induction course for new members of Parliament. It was on the way going that I received reports that Ayariga has gone back or taken to social media and saying that the allegation he made was true. I got to Koforidua rather late, but the following morning, around 10, when the program was on, I received several calls. When I checked, they were coming from City FM and Joy FM. The City FM, I think they have a Saturday morning program. They called me, and I told them clearly that what Honorable Ayariga has put out is not true. Indeed, I used words which I have now been advised not to use because it's unparliamentary. But I insisted that it was not true, it was a lie.
I asked not to use it, so why do you say that and use it again?
Well,
so you withdraw what you just said.
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw. I was only reporting on what had said.
No, I don't want you to. They've asked you not to use it.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. So, Joy FM also called me, and I responded the same way. They insisted that Honorable Ayariga says that it was Honorable Muntaka who told him. And I said that if Muntaka told him that, Muntaka was also telling an untruth, and that neither I or I and Muntaka never discussed anything to do with money. Neither have I taken any money from Honorable Ejakun for myself or for anybody. The Speaker, throughout the weekend, the discussions that were going on was terrible. Very presumptuous conclusions drawn by people in the media. So I came to a conclusion that this matter should not end here. I should bring it back to the floor of the House. So, Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, I made a statement on the floor of the House. My main intention was to go to court. And the reason I wanted to go to court was that if this matter was not settled at a forum where alleging, go round, take all corners.
To all they can say is that it is true.
Oh, they are bringing in people from here, inviting, you know.
So you to bring people to say it's not true.
So how can I bring people when something has not happened? You know, so I considered, I had a meeting. My lawyer is my junior I trained in Koforidua. Fortunately, I was in Koforidua. So we had long meetings. We came to a conclusion that the challenge any litigation with an MP would have is how to serve a process. Your constitution is very clear. You cannot serve a process on a member when he's going into or returning from. And indeed, if you have returning from the person, and indeed, if you have the person not willing to cooperate, you can never serve a process. Mr. Speaker, the conclusion then was to seek the Speaker's permission, because the Speaker can permit service through him. So the whole tenor of the statement was to put out what had happened and to seek the Speaker's permission, consent, to serve, not to take the action. To take the action is my right, but to serve processes through the Speaker's office to Honorable Ayariga, who had made those disparaging remarks about me. Well, the leadership went into conclave and they came to a conclusion that, what do you want? If you're a speaker, you're no longer an ordinary member. You will be presiding. So if you're the presiding officer, also in litigation with members, it will affect the quality of your leadership, and should avoid matters which make it personal, because my position is quite unique. So the conclusion was that what you want is for the truth to be. So if a committee was set up here and to investigate, it will serve the same purpose. If it is not true, it will be found out. If it is true, it will be established. So, Mr. Speaker, if you ask me, let me put it on record again, that the allegation that I have taken money from Honorable Ejaku, whether for myself or for any member of my committee, is false. And that I've never done any such thing. Neither have I discussed anything to do with money with Honorable Ayariga or any member for that matter, and Honorable Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Mubarak Muntaka. Mr. Speaker, I must say also that some other things that have come to my notice subsequent, which I think this committee must know. The person who was to be reporting from here was actually reporting live, and about a week after, a friend brought me a copy of what had been published. Indeed, what had been put out suggests that I had actually gone into hiding on that day. And I would like to play that with your permission for you to hear, for everybody to hear.
No.
The extent of the plot that had been.
No, we'll listen to that first. And then if we want to play it, then we'll play it. Take us by surprise. You know, Mr. Speaker, the rules of Parliament. Give evidence now, you want to play tapes. So tender it, we'll listen to it. If we think it's necessary, we'll play it the next time.
Very well, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, how do I tender it? Send it to your phone or?
We'll send it to the clerk's phone, so that afterwards the clerk will give his number.
Very well. Okay, so after this, I will forward it to the clerk's phone so that. Well, Mr. Yeah.
Sorry,
yes.
one minute, please. Sorry.
Mr. Speaker.
No. Okay. Continue, please.
Yeah. So, Chairman, what I'm saying is that if you listen to the tape and other statements made by colleagues, let me also put on record that that same evening, when we were leaving, Honorable Katie Amund walked up to me and he asked me, is it true what you said, that they said this was created to level up the allegation against John Mahama? And I said, yes, it was. And in
President John.
Sorry, President John Mahama. Fortunately, Honorable Kujete walked to us, and I'm saying, here, he is the one who said it. Then Honorable Katie Amund asked him, did you say that? And he said, yes, we wanted you to feel the same heat as John Mahama is feeling.
President John Mahama.
Sorry, I'm quoting him, what he said then. He didn't say President Mahama. You know. So, Mr. Speaker, this was on the corridor, walking up to our offices, and Honorable Kujeto said this, the presence of Honorable, in fact, in a response to a question put up by Honorable Katie Hammond. Now, in the face of these, I'd consider these to be some of the political games, and I was willing to let it go until Honorable Ayariga went and sat at Joy FM on their flagship program and continued these untruths about me. I think that this committee must establish whether indeed, as a term of it, I have received any money and distributed any money to any member. In fact, all publications that have since come to my notice suggest that they used, they said the chairman was the conduit for distributing bribes. The chairman, yes, those all publications that I've since seen. And they are comfortable reading that and not saying anything, when none of them have discussed money with me or at any point in time, whether it is Muntaka or any member.
Honorable Muntaka. Honorable Muntaka.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Muntaka or another. I mean, I find that I get emotional over these things.
I've been looking at your demeanor and your attitude at the appointments committee further to this, and you have managed to not be emotional and continue to work together. So please, don't get emotional about this. You are a lawyer of many years standing. These matters, you are a politician. Don't get emotional about this. We are here to establish the truth. If you get emotional, you may not be assisting us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I must confess that the first 1 week after, from Monday, it was very difficult. It was difficult for me to look at some people in the face. I was visibly angry. Some friends kept taking photographs of me and sending it to me, seeing how I looked. That the thing, it was showing too clearly that I was not myself, and I was truly not myself. I had discussed with the leader whether it was possible to disband the committee and reconstitute it so that the public confidence in the institutions of Parliament will be restored. But after we looked at the standing orders, we found that it may not be possible.
Don't worry. You and the committee have handled yourself with dignity, and we shall continue to handle ourselves at this matter with dignity as we also continue to pursue the truth. Before my members come in, we have listened to Mr. Ayariga's Joy FM interview, and we have also have the transcript with us. Now, from what we see from the transcript, Mr. Ayariga did not say that he took the money from you or you discussed money with him. From what we see from the transcript, Mr. Ayariga said that he was told from the transcript. Have you heard anywhere, or do you have any evidence that suggests, or Mr. Ayariga himself said, or says, or reports that you were the one who gave him some money?
No, Mr. Chairman. What I listened to on on Joy FM and on Radio Gold was that he said Honorable Muntaka told him.
He was told?
That, yes.
Okay. Now, you said that you had taken the decision to, as it were, recommend Mr. Ajakun by majority.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, the report that we laid on the floor of the House would attest to that, that a vote will be taken on Honorable Ajakun and Honorable Osafo-Mafu.
We'll ask the clerk to supply us a copy of that report. Am I correct also in saying that that decision was taken immediately after the meeting ended?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. It is the practice. As soon as we finish proceedings, we take them one by one. Nominee number, there's vote. If there's consensus, if there's no, in fact, we used to have what we call unanimous, but I checked the standing orders and I found that there was no such thing as unanimous. So I dropped that. So it's either consensus or by majority. So that evening, in I think Mr. Osafo-Mafu was the first to appear on a Monday. We took the decision on him that evening. Then Mr. Jaku came either the day after or so. We took the decision on him the same day.
I know you said it, but just for emphasis, I want to see whether I understand it. So, when you submitted the report, the position was still majority in favor, minority against.
Exactly, Mr. Chairman.
And you also said that it was the minority leader who said that you must, you see whether his people, or you see whether his members will agree to consensus.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, the night before the report was late, I was staying up here late. And earlier on, the minority leader had a discussion, said, look, let's pass them all. But let me confer with the majority chief whip. Within 30 minutes, the majority chief whip called back and said, no, they do not agree to the consensus.
Majority or minority chief whip?
The minority chief whip.
So, Honorable Ayariga, who is the ranking member of your committee,
yes,
was having discussions with the chairman of the committee.
Yes.
In Parliament, is it normal for the ranking member and for the chairman to have discussions after the committee has met? Is it normal?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Regularly, no decision regarding the management or administration of the committee is taken in isolation. It's always in consultation with your ranking member.
So even though the report was being done, majority going one way, minority going another way, you and your ranking member continue to be in discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And what was the purpose of that discussion?
Mr. Chairman, as I recall, the first report should have contained all the seven.
All the first batch that
appeared. I think
yes,
there were supposed to be 8.
Yes.
But we delayed that of the first 2 because the minority leader requested that we should allow him some time to do further consultation with his colleagues. His position was that it will not be a good way to start by going into division straight away. We should continue to strive to build consensus. So,
do you agree with that position?
Well, that is supposed to be.
Do you agree with that position?
Exactly, yes.
Let me ask you another question. And so, the minority leader and yourself, when you couldn't arrive at a decision, decided that you would divide it into 2.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And those who was by consensus, you let them, you did a separate report.
No, Mr. Chairman, you mean the first batch of 8 people?
You had a number of people who are vetted. You vet a number of people over a week. The president brings forward names to Parliament, is seconded to you. Now, his first batch of ministers had been vetted by you, if I understand from what you are saying.
Yes.
On the first batch, you had passed all, you had agreed to pass all by consensus. But there were 2 of them that you decided that you pass them by a majority. Am I right?
That is so, Mr. Chairman.
So, ordinarily, you should have had 1 report covering all of them.
No, Mr. Chairman. For the week, the number of persons we vetted for that particular week were 4 times
What I want to
16.
find out is whether those 2 were delaying the presentation of the report of the other ones that you had passed by consensus.
No, Mr. Chairman. When we decided that we would do, out of the 8 that were vetted first and second days, we would do the 6, whilst the minority leader continued his consultation on the 2. So when we were doing the second report,
then you added the 2.
We added the 2.
So because you couldn't agree on those 2, they were not part of
the first report, no.
Even though they had been vetted, ordinarily they should have been part of the first report.
That's right.
Okay. So you added them to the second report.
That is so, Mr. Chairman.
And if there had not been agreement, you would have brought it forward to Parliament for a vote.
Indeed, I brought it to Parliament for a vote.
Okay.
It was when the vote was to be taken. In that report, I broke it into 2. These 3 are to be approved by consensus. These 2 by majority. So the voice vote had been taken in respect of the consensus. the vote was to be taken, the secret ballot was to be taken on the remaining 2. It was at that point that the minority there requested that we go into a conclave. And that's when we moved to the Speaker's lobby.
Did the Honorable Boachajaku, did he agree to make the changes or submit to what the minority didn't want in his report? Did he agree to do that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. There were 2 of them, Honorable Yasaf Mafo and Honorable Boachajaku. When we left the chamber and when they were waiting in the Speaker's lobby. So what the minority found offensive, they pointed out. Those they wanted proof. We brought the proof, Mr. Boachajaku, and the immediate past Deputy Minister for Power, who was in the chamber, was brought in to confirm or otherwise the things that were he had alluded to. But then his choice of words and expression, which they found offensive, they made him retract that or re-present it in a way that they found acceptable.
So, as you were leaving the Speaker's lobby, can you tell us why you went back and decided to approve them by consensus?
It was because the reason for the minority members objecting to or not supporting their nomination had been resolved to the satisfaction of the minority members.
Was that brought to the floor, to the chamber?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, after it had been resolved in the Speaker's lobby, we came to report on it. And then I amended the report in the chamber based on the consensus that had been reached at the Speaker's lobby.
Thank you. Honourable members, do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, just a few questions. And the first one is the conclave meeting. You mentioned at the conclave meeting, it was Honorable Okujetu Ablakwa who spoke. Did Honorable Ayariga speak on the issue that you raised?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ayariga did not. When I said that that matter should be resolved, as I said, he had raised his hand, but all the other members said, cool it down, take it easy, take it easy. In fact, as soon as we entered the room, the minority leader said, oh, Mr. Speaker, you seem too visibly shaking, please take it easy. But after I raised the issue that it be resolved as such, Ayariga did not speak. It was rather Okujetu who spoke.
Honorable Ayariga, Honorable Okujetu.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Honorable Ayariga, Honorable Okujetu.
All their constituencies.
Very well, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, Honorable Joe Osei Wusu, let me come back to issues of procedure at Appointments Committee. Do you or do you not expect consideration from nominees that appear before you?
No, Mr. Chairman, we do not expect consideration from nominees or anybody for that matter.
Honorable Member, I thought that refers to the second point. I thought we will exhaust the first terms of reference, then we move to the second, then we move to the third. Yes.
Let me contain myself
with the first. So then I'll just inform the nominee that, sorry, it's not a nominee, it's a witness. I'll inform the witness that we are dealing with the second terms of reference, then he can address that. Even though it is evidence he addressed it somehow, of course, we want him to address that specifically as well.
Maybe because he addressed it in
Yes,
past.
yes.
Now, Honorable Joe Osei-Wusu, Honorable Ayariga is your colleague in the House. Did you, at any time, engage him one-on-one to find out from him why he went on air speaking or alleging, making this allegation against you?
No, Mr. Chairman, I wouldn't trust him to do any such thing.
Mr. Chairman, if I may continue.
Yes, you may continue.
Now, apart from raising the issue at the conclave meeting, since you didn't trust Honorable Ayariga, did you raise it with his leadership?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, at the conclave meeting, I put it on the floor where the leadership were, that matter should be resolved there before we return to the chamber.
What do you mean by you didn't trust him? I mean, what do you mean by
He said whether I spoke to him, said I wouldn't trust him. After he had made those allegations, gone on air to repeat it, for me, I think it would be suicidal to get into any one-on-one meeting with him. It's very dangerous.
You don't want to die as well. So you sit at the appointments committee and none of you have discussed this?
No, Mr. Speaker, no. Once this committee has been set up,
yeah.
I'll let everything be discussed here.
Okay. Anyway, the Speaker in setting up the committee also advised that the members should not discuss it. So I think, yes, Honourable Member.
Now, you also mentioned that Honorable Ayariga said he received the information that you brought money to Honorable Muntaka. Did you at any time confront Honorable Muntaka to confirm or deny the allegation?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The evening that the information came to us, I did not confront Honorable Muntaka. However, the following morning, when Joy FM called me and I spoke to the matter, they called Honorable Muntaka, who also spoke. At that time, he said he was on his way to Koforidua. So at lunchtime, he came to me and said, sorry, I think you don't deserve this, but I don't know what I should say, whatever he said. But at that point, he came to plead with me. He apologized that I've been brought into the center of this to me.
Honorable Joseph, was Honorable Ayariga at Koforidua as well?
No, Mr. Speaker, the Chairman.
He was at Koforidua?
No. The Chairman will probably know that the meetings were broken into two.
Yes.
But I was there because
of your position
and I was to chair one of the sessions.
That was the session for the first MMP.
Yes.
That's why Honorable Mutaka was there because
he is also a leader.
He's a leader.
Yes.
So you didn't have. So from that time, the only time that you confronted Honorable Ayariga or mentioned to him was when you met in the Speaker's lobby.
Yes.
Because you intended to go to court.
Yes.
And you were not going to discuss the matter with somebody who potentially were going to court with.
Well, let me say that as at the time I was leaving Parliament that evening, I thought the matter was over because of what Honorable Kujoto had said, what I had repeated on the floor of Parliament, and since there had not been any reaction, I thought... And
yeah, so when you spoke on the floor of Parliament, nobody got up to mention this allegation?
No, I had said that the allegation that was as a result of...
you had said certain things, this is the answer.
Right.
But I'm saying that after you said it, nobody got up to say anything about this allegation.
No.
After you said it, the question was put on the nominees.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And after that, the House rose?
The House rose, yes.
Nobody tried to catch the Speaker's eye, to the best of your information?
I don't recall. Because the way I said, if anything happened behind me, I wouldn't know.
Okay. Honorable Baba. Oh, you haven't finished? Oh, sorry. Sorry to have interrupted you.
Just a couple of questions. You mentioned that Joy FM interviewed you the following morning.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Did you monitor the program after you spoke?
Unfortunately, no. I was called from the table where I was supposed to have a program. So I practically, against protocol, when the speaker was sitting, I had to leave to go and do this. So I came back and explained to the speaker why I had to leave, and he forgave me.
So you did not hear the views of Honorable Ayariga after you had spoken with Joy FM?
Regrettably, no.
And thereafter, you did not have information of what he said?
No. What was brought to my attention was, what do they call it? A statement or an opinion written by the host. And that was even after I had made a statement on the floor of the House, saying that my statement had created the impression that MPs were immune to legal proceedings. I think the Sunday after, somebody forwarded it to me, and I called him. We had a discussion that I don't like argument on law at places where there's no judge. You know, if we are making legal argument, then there will be a judge to say who is right or who is wrong. But other than that, it's your opinion and mine. But I pointed out to him where I think he erred in his discussion. And we agreed that he could have probably discussed the thing in a different way. And we'll let it go.
The Speaker, I hold my fire for now.
I didn't know you had fire. I thought you were just. I didn't know we're fire because you had told me that we'll bring firefighters. Yeah, just a comparative. Not fire, that's it, okay. Honorable Abdullah, you want to ask a question?
And just one or two questions. Mr. Chairman, Honorable, is it the case that at the time you went into the closed-door meeting to discuss whether you could approve of the other two nominations by consensus, this bribery allegation had already gone out?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The first one I received was around 3:15 that afternoon, and we went into that. That was what was sent to me by a friend journalist. Somebody had put it on his, I don't know whether Twitter or Facebook wall, and he copied it and forwarded it. She copied it and forwarded it to me, asking me whether that is true. I was amazed, you know. But after that, just before the speaker came in.
When I'm conferring, don't take a picture of me, please. It's nothing. Okay. Let's focus on the nominee. This is the clerk to the committee. I'm just asking him to give me some information. So don't take a picture of me as if I'm planning a coup d'etat or something, please. Continue.
Yes. So, just when, in fact, it was when the speaker was coming in that my attention was drawn to those other publications on my Joy Online and Peace FM Online. So I couldn't even read the content of that until after that I read and I found that indeed Honorable Ayariga had said that Honorable Muntaka had told him. So at the time I was asking that the matter be resolved in the conclave. I didn't even know that he had even cited his source as Honorable Muntaka.
At that meeting, was Honorable Eric Opoku in attendance?
Yes, he was, Chairman.
Honorable Sohini was in attendance?
Yes, he was.
Honorable Yilechire was in attendance?
Yes, he was.
Honorable Muntaka Mubarak was in attendance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, he was.
Honorable Ajako Bwache, now the Energy Minister, was in attendance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, he was there.
Now, in that closed-door meeting, did Honorable Sohini raise any issue relating to the bribery allegation?
No.
In that closed-door meeting, did Honorable Eric Opoku raise any issue relating to the bribery allegation?
No, Mr. Chairman.
In that closed-door meeting, did Honorable Yilechire raise any issue relating to the bribery allegation?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No.
Let me just ask, did they have an opportunity to raise it? Was it a meeting that everybody could speak if the person wanted to speak?
Well, the meeting was specifically to do with those things that the nominees had said at the appointment committee that the minority found offensive.
What I want to find out is the formality of the meeting. Was it like in the chamber that you have to be recognized? If you are not recognized, you can't speak. Was it that kind of meeting, or it was an informal meeting which they could have raised it? That's what I want to find out.
Mr. Chairman, it was an informal meeting, practically informal. Both nominees, it was pointed out to them what the minority found offensive, and they were offered opportunity to speak to those things.
So was it held in
at the speaker's lobby?
Yeah. Was it held? Was it held in a cordial atmosphere? Or it was held in a.
No, the atmosphere was
normal,
very cordial and friendly.
Oh, you were the only person who was angry.
I guess so. I guess so.
Continue.
Mr. Chairman, was it in that meeting that Honorable Okujeto Abloka did say that they went on air to allege the bribery allegation because they wanted an equalization?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Well, he didn't exactly use the word equalization, that because you said our president was corrupt, we're spreading the corruption allegation. It was at that meeting. He was standing right behind Honorable Sukini.
Did he say, or did any of the honorables whose names I've mentioned say that they had taken any money from Muntaka Mubarak?
Speaker, at that meeting, nobody said that.
Okay.
Honorable DT. Of course, anybody can follow us.
Honorable Joseph.
Tell us, is this fire or?
No, it's not fire.
Okay.
Isn't it unusual that after you had heard Honorable Ayariga had made this allegation about you, and you met in caucus, he did not speak to your face about what had been carried out there? Don't you find it?
I think I'm going to.
That's his opinion.
I think I'm going to.
Not admit it.
Yes.
Very well.
I think I'm not. I didn't want to not admit any question, but this one, please.
Very well. Very well.
These are matters that we can infer looking at the evidence. Honorable Fire. Yes, Honorable BT over.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Prior to the caucus meeting, you stated that you had heard the allegation of this bribery thing. Is that correct?
When you say caucus meeting, you're talking about the meeting that was held.
Yeah, the meeting that
held in the speaker's lobby. Held in the speaker's lobby.
Yes, please.
Okay. He calls it
the conclave.
The conclave because yes. Caucus here has a meaning under the standing order. So the conclave. Is it like the Pope's conclave, yes, or what kind of conclave was that? You mean the meeting held in the speaker's lobby yes, to resolve matters dealing with the two nominees? Okay. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Otherwise known as the conclave.
Yeah, otherwise known as the conclave.
Thank you.
Yeah, following that, you said after you had resolved to pass the two by consensus, you raised the issue of the bribery allegation.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I insisted that it
you
be
also
resolved.
mentioned that the minority members in unison, but Ayariga raised his hand.
Yeah.
Was it in opposition, or that he also supported it?
No, I think he wanted to say something at that meeting, but they said, "Oh, Mr. Speaker, cool down, cool down, cool down," and then Honorable Okujeto brought in his explanation for what they were doing. That was what appeared to have me, for example. I thought that if it was only for the political purposes, I was not keen. It was the end of the matter. That was why I reported on it on the floor of the House, hoping that it will end there once members know the source and the reason, it would end there.
That you reported on it because, as far as you were concerned, the matter had ended.
Yes.
Continue, Honorable Baba.
Mr. Speaker, in that case, it means that conclave meeting had two objectives. Is that correct?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the second one, this was not part of the reason for going into that meeting. The meeting was requested by the minority leader. The meeting was to resolve whether or not the minority will remove their objection to the two nominees being approved by consensus. But just before we went into that meeting, it had come to my notice that these allegations had been made. So after we had resolved the matter relating to the two nominees, I raised the matter that this allegation has been made, so it should be resolved at that meeting as well.
Mr. Speaker, I want to know, Mr. Chairman, I want to know from the witness whether the appointments committee ever discussed the payment of allowances to themselves.
That's the second point. So I think that members have. Do you have the terms of reference in front of you?
Regrettably, no. If you
can you give the witness a copy of the terms of reference? I think that whilst you read this, the committee will recess for about a few minutes and come back. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Doesn't matter. We'll recess for just a few minutes and come back.
To the minority chief whip, Alhaji Mubarak Mohammed Muntaka, to distribute to his members on the minority side?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Or to any members any members of the appointments committee, even the majority, because it terms of reference, or to any members of the appointments committee?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Banda.
Honorable Joseph Su, were there any attempts by anybody, whether directly or indirectly, to bribe the appointments committee?
Mr. Chairman, the appointments committee as a group, from the time we sit to the time we finish, no stranger has participated in our meetings. No non-member have met with us as a group. And then I, as an individual, nobody has attempted to bribe me. If anybody has done that to the members, I will not be in a position to say. But as a group, through me or in the meeting or as a person, nobody has attempted to bribe me or the group.
And why you take the decisions immediately after you finish?
Mr. Chairman, immediately we finish. We don't break. As soon as we clear the gallery, we decide on the nominees.
So you don't even do what we did now. You don't break at all.
No, we don't leave our tables. We sit by our tables and take the decision.
But I want to assure you that we didn't leave our tables for any evil. The way you are insisting that you don't leave your table as if we left our table for some different. We didn't. We left our table for just 2 minutes to confer on a certain matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable BT.
Yeah. Do you have any further information for this committee which will enhance our work?
I'm not sure. Regarding this matter, all I know is what I've shared with you. A few other commentaries on radio and things. The one I want to share with you is a report that apparently was being made the same time that this allegation was being made. I mean, says that I had gone into hiding, that they were looking for me, they couldn't find me, and because of that, the report cannot be presented.
This hiding matter, don't worry about it. When I was second deputy speaker, I was on official duty in Abuja. It was reported that I had gone into hiding in Ghanaian Times. That I couldn't be served. I was in hiding. So hiding, don't worry. This is not the first, and it may not be the last. So don't worry about hiding at all. We are interested in whether or not there was any bribery or attempt to bribe. Honorable Aseosu,
yes,
since you have nothing else to say, and since the committee has nothing else to ask you at this stage, I will ask that you submit your tape recording to the clerk. I'll also say that you are discharged. If the committee has any more need to invite you, we shall not hesitate to do that. I know you hold yourself in readiness. I want to just refer you to Order 221 before I discharge you. And it reads as follows. The evidence of every witness shall be taken down and a copy of it sent to him. The witness may, within 7 days from the date of receipt of the copy, suggest corrections due to inaccurate reporting, and the evidence shall be printed with such corrections as may be approved by the chairman. Your evidence will be sent to you. This committee does not intend to meet ad infinitum. So I direct that the evidence should be sent to you immediately today. And if you have, we are bridging the time. If you have any corrections, do it by Friday. And you can get back to the committee on Friday we'll be sitting. By Friday morning, if you have something to bring to us, we'll look at it. That will not be public, is very simple, just taking off evidence. Or after the sitting on Friday, if you see corrections, you can bring it to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At this stage, I will discharge you. And thank you for attending onto the committee, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you too, Honorable Joseph. I think on Friday we shall call 3 witnesses. As I said before, Honorable Mutaka, Honorable Ayariga, and Honorable Boache Ajako. We shall start at 11 o'clock. Like I said before, to any member of the committee who wants to appear before the committee or who has information which will assist the committee should submit a memorandum to the committee by Friday. And the committee will decide whether or not to call the member. But as I speak, we have agreed to call 3 more persons. Thank you very much. Thank you. This brings... Yeah, no. Okay. And then, I've just been told by my members, we are not discussing this matter. We have given you the opportunity to listen to us. We are not going to hold post-hearing discussions. You shouldn't call us. We won't answer the questions. When we leave here, don't thrust the mic in my face. I won't speak to you. Not because I don't want to speak. Not because I don't want the public to hear. Because we are holding the hearing in public. What else can we do? And at the end of the day, the report that we bring forward will go to the chamber and to be discussed in public. So please, allow us to do our work. If we speak, the persons who appear before the committee may say that we are biased based on what we may say. So please, we are not communicating with the media. That doesn't mean there's a media blackout. A word to the wise is enough. Thank you very much.
Hello. Like I was on air? You're still here on Joy News, and a short while ago you were just watching Joe Garte. He's the chairman. Joe Garte and members of the five-member investigative team that is currently probing the bribery allegation against members and chair of the Appointments Committee of Parliament. And you were just watching him wrapping up that probing, the first sitting and interrogation of the chairman of the Appointments Committee on the bribery allegation, Joe Osei-Wusu. And Mr. Garte started off by saying that the committee was established to determine whether or not to investigate this bribery allegation, look into complaints, and also the fact that this committee has the powers of the High Court, and also to assure the public that the committee is not engaged in a wild goose chase, and they are guided also that the committee has already met a number of times and already decided to call for witnesses. And you just saw one of the witnesses, Mr. Joe Osei-Wusu, who is actually the chairman of Parliament's Appointment Committee, giving his side of the story as well. There will be 3 other members, as Mr. Joe Garte has already mentioned. These members include Muntaka Mubarak, also Mahama Ayariga, as well as Boachie Jakun. So all of them subsequently will appear before the 5-member committee investigating this bribery allegation against the Appointments Committee. And you also heard Mr. Joe Osei-Wusu defending his case, and he said that, and of course he's the chairman of the Appointment Committee, he has denied that he's ever taken any bribe, or any member, as far as he's aware, has taken any money from anybody. And he's also noted that he actually he wanted to reconstitute the committee so he would recuse himself to restore the integrity of Parliament, but that could not be done, and so he had to stay on, but he was trying to tell how serious he took the allegations and how he felt could affect the integrity of Parliament. And then again, he wrapped up by saying that there has not been a single stranger in any of their meetings, and also answered the question as to whether or not anybody had attempted to bribe the committee or any member of the committee. And he said that as far as he is aware, nobody has attempted to bribe any member of the committee. So you're still watching Joy News. Any information that we get, we'll bring it to you, but keep watching your election headquarters, and we'll bring you all the information you need to know. Good afternoon.